Here is the Reuters article, and it says millions of people are going to die after taking the flu shot, but it's not the flu shot that's going to kill you. They're diagnosing everyone, saying there's going to be no adverse reactions, even though they admit every vaccine, even those that push them, have adverse reactions. And Dr. Horowitz, Sherry Kane, you were bringing up this director of Reuters, who's also a Bilderberg member, being a key operative in this and profiting from it, and knowing, and the medical community is asking, how did they know day one that it was swine, bird, and human all mixed with the H1N1? Dr. Horowitz and Sherry Kane.
Well, Thomas Glosser, who is the CEO and director of Thomson Reuters, which is the world's largest international multimedia news agency, is also the director of Merck & Company, which is the leading pharmaceutical company in the world that manufactures influenza and HPV vaccines. And he's also on the board of directors for Partnership for New York City. Again, we go back to David Rockefeller's Partnership for New York City, which, if you look at the people on that board, who are also in charge of rebuilding the World Trade Centers, in partnership with Jerry Silverstein Properties, Jerry Silverstein, who purchased the World Trade Center 6 weeks before it came down. We can look at all the people that are players in this. Rupert Murdoch, who has the Murdoch Children's Research Institute, who is partnered with CSL, which is Australia's leading biopharmaceutical company that produces the avian and H1 swine flu vaccination, and is now conducting swine flu vaccination trials on children between 6 months and 8 years old. They have recruited in Melbourne about 100 Victorian children aged between 6 months to 8 who were targeted for study in collaboration with the University of Melbourne and the federal government of Australia. The person that runs that is Sarah Murdoch, who is Rupert Murdoch's daughter-in-law. And, okay, so he is the chairman of the Partnership of New York City, but here's something really interesting. Co-chairman for the Partnership of New York City is a man named Lloyd Blankfein, who happens to be the overseer for Weill Medical College of Cornell University, which had the very first well-publicized university outbreak of the swine flu. So, I don't know.
Yeah, they've been using those as hype. We noticed 3 months ago they'd have military drills of locking down universities, and then those universities are the ones where they hype it and claim there's been 2,000 cases.
Exactly.
Right, so it's a RICO scam. It's an organized crime ring, and it's being run initially out of New York by David Rockefeller et al.
And he in the Encyclopedia Britannica, the founder of the Rockefeller family, and then his son, and now David, in all the literature, mainline Pulitzer Prize-winning books, Black's book on it, it's always the Rockefellers. They created the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute in Germany. Hitler thanked them in his speeches and in Mein Kampf. I mean, these guys have set up the architecture of our planet. They're social Darwinistic eugenicists. Dr. Horowitz, can you speak to their mindset briefly?
Well, the mindset obviously is either they're extraterrestrial or they're absolutely demonically traumatized when they're young. And because when you study, as I have, and I've worked with the FBI's official methods and materials in diagnosing organized serial killers and apprehending them by understanding their mindset.
Yeah, that's how you first got famous back in the 80s.
Right. That's my area of primary expertise, Harvard investigator in regard to looking at, medical sociology, psychopathology, and how we can try to change, how we can actually develop beyond this trauma-based...
Stay there. I want to talk more about that, because that's right. You were all over the news in the 80s exposing the doctors with the AIDS and killing people and all of that. And so that's your degree, is in studying that type of special medical criminology. That's why you could predict the anthrax attacks with total precision. That's how you were able to predict all this. My God, Dr. Horowitz, what an asset you are, my friend, a true maverick, a true Renaissance man. And you've got a great investigative journalist working with you as well, Sherry Kane. Have you... We're going to your phone calls here in just a moment, but the break interrupted Dr. Horowitz. Dr. Horowitz, you're talking about this being a crime syndicate, a racketeering operation. All the evidence is there. You were finishing up with studying medical criminology, and then we're going to go to calls. Go ahead.
Well, again, there's so much evidence that shows when a child is traumatized, and basically that's how medicine is actually, the doctors are actually Manchurian candidates, licensed to kill. They're brainwashed, mind-controlled slaves by trauma. The whole medical education process reflects what takes place, has got to take place in serial killers' minds, because what happens, the neurology gets crossed. What brings people, normal people, joy, brings them anxiety, and what brings normal people fear and horror brings them joy.
Instead of nurturing, they enjoy strapping a child down and ripping their teeth out with pliers.
Yeah, they actually do. That's exactly how organized serial killers feel and think, and because of the trauma that they sustain when they're children.
Look at Stalin, look at Hitler, look at Mao.
Yeah, and this is what's going on in these secret societies. Basically, you remember there was a reporter several years ago that was, I believe he was killed after going in, and George H.W. Bush was asked, what about the skull and bones? And he laughed. Well, that reporter was actually videotaping them conducting mock killings. And so this is kind of what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with normal human beings. And this is what your number one risk in society is. As a behavioral science expert and a medical sociologist, I can tell you that the number one risk that people have this concept that there can't possibly be people who are so evil, when in fact it is your love, it is the truth in your heart that really it's inconceivable to you that people could do this.
That's your blind spot. Risk. That's why women, got in the yellow Volkswagen with Ted Bundy. Look at this evidence. Eco-science alone, when he went before Jay Rockefeller to be confirmed as the White House science czar, and we have these clips in the upcoming film, Jay Rockefeller worships him. They worship Zbigniew Brzezinski because he brags he helped kill 3 million in Cambodia, funding that. That's their rock stars. To them, they want control so they can kill, just like other tyrants, when they get control, suddenly start setting up death camps in every case. This is their beauty. Black uniforms, piles of dead bodies, torture, screaming, death, Hellraiser, Event Horizon type stuff. This is what they're into, and eco-science is admitting they want to kill at least 80% of us, and they believe it's beautiful, and it's totally sick, and they put their messages everywhere. I was telling people earlier, Dr. Horowitz, I was watching this morning on the treadmill, I was jogging, I was watching Mark Wahlberg's film titled The Happening, where the environment gets mad, the plants kill everybody by making them commit suicide with the chemical the plants release. And as this guy is being run over by a lawnmower, he turns on the big lawnmower, the big riding mower, runs it over him. It cuts to a billboard that says, "This is what you deserve." And it's all these movies and all these shows about everybody dying from a bio-release. They are getting everyone ready for this mass killing.
Right. And again, to do that, you're not dealing with anything normal. It's either extraterrestrial or it's trauma-based, human that's become a organized mass murderer, and that
by extraterrestrial you mean demonic?
Again, because I have a spiritual orientation, and basically, it's talked about in the Bible. There's things called Nephilim, fallen angels, who come into the daughters of men, change the genetics, and that's why it rained for 40 days and 40 nights back in Noah's age. We're dealing with the genetic engineers of today. And, my own orientation to this is that, the Creator is not going to stand for it. There's nothing more powerful than the Creator in the universe, and we who are working for the Creator, there's a lot more light than darkness, and basically
what's funny? The transhumanists that I covered in Endgame, to a man, Kurzweil, all of them, say they're going to be gods, they're going to become creators, they're going to merge with machine, and then they're going to kill the rest of us.
That's what a man... That's what they're up to.
Even if this isn't real... even if they're just delusional, these people are crazy.
They're out there. They're completely gone. And the sad thing is that the normal human being can't conceive of the devilishness of these people and what the risk is to them for not waking up.
Sherry?
I believe that these people are definitely worshiping Satan. If you even watch the film Eyes Wide Shut, one of Stanley Kubrick's last film. It gives you an example of the kind of people they are. And
by the way, they killed him and cut 25 minutes out. I have that from sources in Hollywood.
I believe that.
You know, I snuck into the Real Eyes Wide Shut Bohemian Grove.